My destiny.
Hey, it's Kate here and welcome to Marvelous Videos. Today we look at the Spider, introducing the Master of Men. Adding to the wide range of spooky cult heroes, here is the Spider, who fits the title of the Hero of the Night. First making its appearance in a comic book, The Spider Strikes in 1933, it gained its popularity under the name Richard Wentworth. The creator, Harry Steeger, established the Savior of Dusk at Popular Publications, which marked the Shadow as its competitor. The Shadow was also a mysterious figure that ruled in the dark by fighting and diminishing crime, from 1931 to 1949. Covering his entire journey, from an early millionaire philanthropist of New York City who mainly served as a major during World War I to the undercover night agent. Spider ruled its timeline with an audience ranging from kids to adults. The Spider set the benchmark for the beginning of the superhero era, swinging in the night in his all-black heroic costume. It became much more difficult for the antagonist to unmask him. Some of his famous evils included the Fly, the Living Pharaoh, and Judge Torture. In 1938, Spider made it to Hollywood, under the name Spider's Web, a 15-chapter movie with Warren Hall playing the main lead, who fought against the Octopus and his gang, ultimately making it the first pulp magazine character to appear on the silver screen. The movie was an epic mix of Western and comedy directors, namely Ray Taylor and James W. Horn. In 1941, Columbia Pictures brought back the Spider on screen as Spider Returns, with the same artist, but it faded away within no time. The dystopic world of the Spider makes him explode into action, while he continues to transform his life between the high society norms and unpleasant reality. Let's get started over the huge empire built by the Spider, starting as a one-man army and spreading onto an uneasy and heavily loaded franchise. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin.
The chase is over, Gargoyle. Your men are in the hands of the police. I'm turning you over.
Origin of the Night Vigilante. After Steeger introduced the Midnight Vigilante, he expanded his team by including a Canadian writer, Reginald Thomas Maitland-Scott, who was a World War I veteran and also wrote detective and secret agent stories as a part of his usual interest. By the end of the two published stories, Steeger realised that Scott mainly involved the slow burning process in his novels, in which the magazine's readers were not heavily engaged in, and it lacked attention and interest among them. Later, Norval Page, a newspaper writer, joined the team through his backup story, Murder Undercover, published in the magazine's first Spider edition. The Judge-Jury hero had its build-up team, consisting of his fiancée, Nita Van Sloan, who was seen fighting alongside him and on various occasions as the Spider herself, the Hindu Sikh servant, Ram Singh, who was a pioneer in knife skills and considered himself more of a companion to the hero, the Professor, Ezra Brownlee, who provided him useful assets like a silent air pistol and an unbreakable climbing rope, the Inspector, Kirkpatrick, who was the antagonist who was introduced during 1933 to 1944 and always tried to disclose the identity of the domino-masked human, and finally the chauffeur, Ronald Jackson, who considered Richard as his hero. Wentworth was the master of disguise and mimics, as his most important cover included Blinky McQuaid, who was known for his tidbits in the underworld. The Dark Hero personified his image with some horrendous looks, attached with a cloak, a slouch hat, a domino mask which were later customised with a shabby wig, a hooked nose that appeared to be a prosthetic, a pair of fake fangs, and the remarkable hunchback. These add-ons provided the Spider with ultimate courage and power to deal with the crimes overruling the city. From honing its skills with various weapons and other equipment, the twin custom Colt M1911 came in handy, and it became essential and unique, with its red spider's web which was stamped onto the dead criminal's forehead, gaining a typical old-style sleuth's image. The Spider ran for 118 issues, and with the 119th edition, Slaughter Incorporated's manuscript was completed, but it never made it to publishing until Blue Steel. The black-caped hero established itself through the help of two magazines, which provided the character to evolve and go on to many challenges, while this later proved to be the start of an immensely popular comic line with a vast audience. The Wings of Kali, the Spider's first appearance. Within the sacred and tidy atmosphere of old Benares, India, back in May 1942, takes place a neat execution of a government official, Walter Bishop, who seems to be cheating on his girlfriend Melissa James with his several mistresses. As Wentworth overhears both of them arguing over their relationship, he interrupts and starts investigating the man, which results in him leaving the site full of agitation. Later, when Bishop returns to the club, he finds a familiar bracelet lying on the table and becomes alert to his surroundings. He runs away as soon as he is attacked by Wentworth. As per his plan, after driving out the ladies safely, he waits for his trap to work. After Bishop shows up, a burst of loud, chilling laughter introduces itself, the owner of this laughter being a bizarre, hunched figure, which appears to be the one and only the Spider, who ultimately ends the corrupt officer and disappears into the darkness, leaving the city to its inexplicable silence. A grand number of details seem to be missing in this short story case of the Spider, which doesn't enclose much about the hero and his varied ideas of fighting the evils, like how he managed to disappear into nowhere and return in the shape of the Spider, and again getting lost in the dark after performing its duty, without making sure nobody notices him. Also, did anyone from his team accompany him during his heroic feats, and take care of his necessities and shreds of evidence and ensuring that he doesn't harm or outcast himself? Consisting of about 2,600 words, this story successfully ended by being able to put an impact on weird action and thrill.
Well, Wilson said the tube is installed.
Then let us attack, monster.
Steady, warrior. We've got to look the place over and plan our action.
Blood Bond, a chapter to unknown triumphs. Capturing the story under 3,600 words, this comic gave the readers some loose ends, but enough matter to stick on the pages with curiosity binding the brains. Making his way through the snow-covered Himalayas, Wentworth intends to take refuge under the presence of Marla Delan to learn and master the art of self-control, which appears necessary for the life he has chosen. As his train is attacked by a team of infuriated Sikhs, he has no other option left rather than to send his party back to Govind Singh's village. After a desperate wait, he is rescued by the villagers of the priest, which included Ram Singh, his son who wanted to kill him. But at this moment, he has orders to save the man. And by the end of the story, he decides to pursue Wentworth in his further destinations so that he can complete his long-due wish. But instead, the pulp hero greets him with utmost warmth and welcomes him into his life and the team. The doubt which surrounds the audience is what was the reason behind Ram Singh's insane drive to kill this figure of justice. And also, later in the series, what made him change his whole attitude towards Wentworth, which portrayed him as the most loyal being to the one he wanted to kill so fervently. After conquering the audience through fiction and comics, now it was time to turn to the TV screen, which no doubt made an excellent outcome, with many industries approaching the creators to honk their shows with the Spider's presence.
The Spider!
Spider's Web. Released on October the 10th, 1938, this series of 15 chapters completed a successful run and allowed a sequel to keep its trend alive, fighting the demonic actions of the Octopus and his gang. Richard, played by Warren Hall, teams up with his fellow members to end his wave of terror. While putting his friends in the line of danger and often rescuing them, he always ended on a cliffhanger, which led to a new mystery-laced chapter. Much to his comfort, he is seen using the web marks and the lines to escape just like the Spider-Man. The villain, created by Norval Page himself, was always groped in a white presence while sitting in his throne chair. With Commissioner Kirk always on a chase to catch the masked figure, trouble started appearing in the hero's way, which messed up things for him.
Spider!
The Spider returns. With a runtime of 300 minutes and almost the same main cast and director, the Pulp magazine character once again made it to the TV screen on May the 9th, 1941, under the show name The Spider Returns. In this series, Richard teams up with the police authority Kirk to fight against a power-driven crime lord, the Gargoyle, whose mission is to ruin the security of the US and rule the country marked with utmost destruction and cruelty. The return of Spider's comic era. The Spider created such a vast influence both over the audience and the creators that it not only managed to survive, but redevelop its entire fiction. It was revived by Timothy Truman for Eclipse Comics in the early 90s, where air travel became more common with the existence of the League of Nations and maybe World War II. It was March of 2011 when the publisher from Moonstone Books introduced a new line of Spider traditional comic books, In the following year, in August, Dynamite Entertainment decided to launch an entirely new updated Spider comic book by novelist David Liss, releasing its first issue in May 2012, based on the crimes of vigilantes fighting to survive in the modern-day US. Allying up with its other pulp heroes, Dynamite released its first issue of Masks in December 2012, which mainly included the Green Hornet and Kato, the Shadow, and a descendant of Zorro. This 8-book series was set in the Depression era. With the return of the comic franchise, the entertainment market was flooded with Spider's avalanche. Dynamite exploring new horizons. In the 2012 published series, Dynamite tried exploring the interests between the main leads of the comic, who are believed to be together for a long time in every Pulp Fiction or on-screen script so far mentioned. After everyone started believing in the missing or probably the death of Richard on a Black Ops mission, he came into action by his surprise visit to New York, where he finds his love interest Nita married to Stanley Kirkpatrick. This story arc gave the comic line many angles to support its viewpoint, and thus establishing things between the Spider and her companion. He also struggled in the relationships with his father and was highly affected by his death, which inspired him to inherit his company and guide it to a powerful direction, with good and legal resources. But there's no harm in developing the hero, and its world until it starts giving us major goosebumps. It appears that this knight can be compared to the present Batman, as both of them have quite the same resemblance. From being the only heir to their extremely rich family, to being a nocturnal superhero, they might share an inspiration, or who knows, maybe the Knight of Gotham is a far descendant of the Spider figure. What the future holds for the Spider. Being able to pull through the generations with amazing responses, this pulp magazine character still holds enough power and insanity to rule the big screen, spreading the night justice alongside its allies by facing the dramatic evil companies. Spider would still be able to bring the audience to the theatres. Richard's character could be made more advanced with the new evolved techniques and powers assigned, like if the Spider ever had a wave-reflecting shield, or it has its own customized suit which appeared instantly as soon as the air starts radiating crime. It's also possible for the Vigilante to have an extended universe with various timelines. What if he turned into an occult detective, like John Constantine, or a time traveller in search of being an immortal? Whatever is thrown at this heroic figure, it'll be able to mark up its level of perfection and will revive its old glory, building the paths for upcoming eternal superheroes and villains. With his cruel, vengeful spirit against the evils, he continues to fight crimes to deliver justice to the unfortunate and preserving their rights, thus making the world a little bit better. We hope you enjoyed our video with this famous pulp superhero and his adventures, while we await your return with another epic soup and its tale of survival, only here at Marvelous Videos.
Spider! Don't move, Spider.